Outdoor dining keeping restaurants afloat during COVID shutdown. So what happens when the weather gets cold and that is no longer an option for diners? Brands CEO Andy Wiederhorn joins us now with more. And Andy, one of the reasons why we're asking this question is because the opening of indoor seating at restaurants in New York isn't even on the slate. It's not even part of the phases. And there are other places around the country, too, where they're not even setting a target date. There's no end in sight. What do you think about that?
California, open and close again, right? So same thing, outdoor dining and delivery and to-go is the only way operators are going to get through this. And they've got to be prepared for it because, using the line, as you know, winter is coming.
Yeah. So what are some of your suggestions? I mean, we've seen people go all in here in New York and really get creative and put up some overhead covering and even install fans and do some really fancy things to try and keep things open. But at some point, that's not going to be possible. I don't know. What are some of your suggestions?
Yes, a couple things. First of all, we're encouraging all of our franchisees to order the winter supplies that they need now, because you're not going to be able to get them at the end of September, right? So you've got to order heaters. You have to order tents with walls, or some walls. Maybe it's 3 walls out of 4. I don't know what's going to fly. I don't think any of us know yet what will be considered appropriate. But you've got to be prepared to warm up those areas, have ventilation and circulation of air, and you have to order it now, because it's going to come upon us really quick. You know, it's an entirely different experience trying to keep people warm and have air circulate than keep them cool.
Wow. And it's so hard to give that advice right now, because the main problem is that these restaurants are hurting for money wherever they are. And what you're saying is you must spend money right now in advance of the winter, on the bet that restaurants won't be open inside. Maybe they will be open and they will have spent this money on the heaters and the other things for nothing at a time when no one has an extra dime. How do you deal with that?
Completely agree. I mean, listen, the PPP loans saved so many restaurant operators. Many of our franchisees got them. We've talked about this before. It was a huge help. It's that money's run out. It's not long enough. They need to do another round of it. It was very helpful. And I think they should do the refund of the 2019 payroll taxes that each restaurant or each employer paid, because pro rata, they each get back money, relative to the number of people they employed. They've got to get that passed now. They can't mess around with this, because it takes a while to get it done anyway, and it just needs to happen right away.
Yeah. What other advice would you give? Because, there are a lot of different restaurants. When we walk around our neighborhood and we talk to people, and they're trying to hang in there. But, a lot of restaurant owners feel really beaten down, or shop owners, anyone who has a business right now. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that have staked their whole family's fortune on this. It's their opportunity to make or break, to leave something to the rest of their family. And it's just really scary and disheartening. What words, as an entrepreneur yourself who built an enormous business, what do you say to them?
So, I mean, it is devastating, and it's not fair, and it's disproportionate, and it depends, geographically. And if you're fine dining versus QSR or fast casual, it hits you harder. So it's very difficult. You have to fight to survive, which means you're taking a dull knife in a trench fight with somebody who has a gun, right? You've got to get in there and fight to survive. That may mean simplifying your menu. Customers are very tolerant of changes right now to adapt to have you stay open. You have to figure out how to get cash flow and keep your business open, and forget about the things that don't matter right now. Focus on making sure you pay the things you have to. You have to pay your people. You have to buy product. You have to fight for it. And the government has to assist the small business owners. They just have to.
All right. Andy Wiederhorn, thank you for those words. We really appreciate it. We love our small business owners, and we really, God bless them. We wish them the best. Thanks for coming on. David.
We are pulling for them.